Okay, I'm live here on YouTube and where am I? Facebook. Okay. Oh, pardon me. Just waiting for people to turn up. There we go. People are starting to turn up. Okay, while we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. What city are you in? What country? What state? I've seen Fiona Coulter before. Maddie Colson. Okay, so where are you from? We're just waiting for everyone to turn up. So, Iowa. Hello, Iowa. Idaho, Iowa, Ohio. It only happened once, but I had people from, and they went bang, 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 one after the other on I think it was a TikTok live. Iowa, Idaho, and Ohio. Okay, so where are you from? Always interested in that. And also, how old are your kids? Mine are 34 and 29. And my granddaughter's 6 months. So where are you from and how old are your kids while we're waiting? I'm just curious. Oh, if you send me messages, we don't get to the messages or comments hardly ever. You have to email me if you need to get a hold of me. And the only place that I answer parenting questions is on these lives. I don't answer them on email. White Rock, BC, south of you. I know where White Rock is. I never really used to go to White Rock. I think it's called Ambleside. Is that the one that's right next door to it? When I was a teenager back in the 70s, I used to go to, is it Ambleside? Or is that in West Van? I can't remember. Anyway, we used to go out that way quite often to go to the beach. I used to love it when the tide was out and you could walk for ages. Okay, Kansas, 2 and 8 months. So you got a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. Excellent. So you're in the thick of it physically. That's the most physically demanding time is when they're little. Crescent Beach. That's right. Ambleside's in West Van, isn't it? Yeah, Crescent Beach. Thanks. I knew it was wrong. I just didn't know what it was. Okay. Pennsylvania, ages 7 and 9. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, well, let's just get going with your parenting questions. Illinois, 4 years old. Hi, Teresa. Let's get going with your parenting questions. And Pennsylvania, are you the same one that was on? Sometimes people are on YouTube and social media. YouTube isn't social media, it's a search engine, so it's quite different. Okay. Okay. Barrie, Ontario. I've never been to Barrie. Been to Toronto, and that's about it. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. First of all, I'm going to introduce myself. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. My name is Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you'll see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. So let's get going with your parenting questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Facebook for the last 2 or 3 days has been really slow for some reason. But Instagram and TikTok, they're my bigger platforms. They're always crazy busy. And Facebook used to be the same. It's just in the last 2 or 3 days. I guess Facebook just isn't pushing it out. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, so if you ask a question, I should get to it. Okay. My 2-year-old thinks it's funny to spit. Yeah, they're just going to test stuff out. You just say no and then give them a bit of a snub. You snub them. You say no and then clean up and walk away. And you don't keep looking at them. Don't talk to them. Attention is food for that stuff. They feed off of it. So yeah, just say no and then walk away. How do you handle when kids only ever favor one parent? Well, I don't know how old they are. Are they 16 months? I need an age. You have to put ages down if you're asking me questions. I'm going to read out how to apologize. This one is sort of for adults too, but It's something I taught my kids and something I always did. It's how to apologize effectively. I think it's important for adults to know how to do this too. And you do this with your kids or anybody or adults. Anyway, these are the 4 steps on how do you apologize effectively. Number 1 is say you're sorry. I don't really care about that. It just gets the ball rolling. The word sorry has way too much power. Like it goes something like this these days. People say sorry, and then the other person's still upset because you did something to them. And then you get mad because they didn't just forgive you. So no matter what you do to someone, you say sorry, and they're supposed to go, that's okay. When someone has done something to me, let's say they're late and they kept me waiting and they say sorry, I don't say that's okay. I never do. I'm waiting for what's coming next, if it's going to come at all. So if someone's late or something, they say sorry, I go, oh, well. And they always look kind of surprised that I don't go, that's okay. Just one word, sorry. You can do anything you want. Say sorry, and it's all over. That's crap. Anyway, 4 steps to a good apology. Say you're sorry. It gets the ball rolling. Number 2 is take full responsibility for what you did. Say, sorry, I know I was late. I shouldn't have been. I didn't time it correctly. You don't blame them don't blame the traffic. Just blame yourself. Number 3 is you make amends. Say, what can I do to make it up to you? Sorry, I was late. How about I buy dessert? Or how about I buy, popcorn for the movie or whatever. So make amends. Say, what can I do to make it up to you? If they don't come up with anything, just come up with something. No big deal, right? It's no big deal. And the last one is don't keep doing it. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, there was no apology there in the first place. It was just get out of jail free. Okay. So that's how you apologize effectively. People just don't know how to do that for some reason. They murder someone's whole family and go, sorry, and then they don't forgive you. And you're not very forgiving. It's just one word, sorry. It's so overused these days. I don't know why. It's trendy that the word sorry is overused, as if that's all you need to do. What response or reprimand do you give a 2.5-year-old who bites a 10-month-old brother for no reason? Yeah, you just say no biting. I actually have a whole course on that, toddlers who hit and bite. If they bite, you say no, and then you remove the baby and you soothe the baby. That's okay. It's okay. And snub the biter. Let them cry it out. Let them go through some pain for causing pain. That's okay. Pick up the baby and comfort the baby and give the baby attention and ignore the 2.5-year-old. Okay. Oh, I got the rich parent on YouTube again, becoming a regular. I don't know why I'm looking at Facebook. You're over there, the YouTube. The YouTube is my smallest platform. So I'm always looking at my phone, which are my big ones. But YouTube's picking up on these lives. It's going well. Okay, this is from Haley on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to answer them in order here. Chanel, Michigan, 2.5-year-old. How do you assert yourself as a leader with a toddler when they didn't see you one previously? Well, they're brand new. I mean, they don't see a lot going on at 2.5 years old. So just use consistent corrective actions when you want them to stop doing something. And then you play with them to connect with them. And play is their love language. Fun is their love language. The more you have fun with them in their world, the more likely they are to listen to you when you're disciplining them. You completely ignore tantrums, okay, but you're standing right there. There's a very specific way on how you ignore tantrums. You don't just leave the room. You never do timeout. I think timeout is mean. You don't hit. You don't yell. You just use consistent corrective actions every time they do something you don't like. That is, you remove them from the fun or remove the fun from them just for a few minutes or whatever. So anyway, you might want to check out my toddler courses and see if one of those might apply. Okay. And Haley said, I watch every live I can. Oh, welcome. Okay. I love learning about how to be a better mom. You blow my mind by simplifying everything with common sense. I'm always dumbfounded how easy you make parenting seem. It's easy for me because I know how to do it. It's like anything. I really struggle with some things. And other people make it look easy. But it is actually easy if you just follow the steps and don't expect too much initially. Just be really pragmatic and just keep going. Whatever I'm recommending, just give it a go, but be really slow and methodical about it. And don't try and address everything at once. That's why whenever I'm doing the behavior board or the course, the boot camp course, or when I'm coaching, we do 1 rule per week that you're going to master. So you start slow and you sort of, it's like habit stacking, right? So you do 1 habit or 1 rule per week. And it gets easier. So you start small. Okay, you have top tips for toddlers and teens, top tips for 3 to 12-year-olds. No, I don't really have any. I don't know why. I have no idea why I don't. Why don't I? I guess because I have a course on that I sort of feel, and the behavior board sort of covers that too. But yeah, I have a course on 3 to 12-year-olds. Let me think, my top tips. Well, I could just throw this in and use it like my generic 3 leadership qualities, or 3 ways to start becoming a leader, is number 1 is you stay calm during the storms. So when everything's sort of you're disciplining and they're angry, you stay completely calm. Number 2 is you be crazy during the rainbows. When everything's happy, you can have fun and loud and giggling and laughing with your kids. Be fun. And the last one is become a really great listener. Learn how to listen, to show empathy and understanding. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. The better you get at this, the more likely they are to tell you everything right through the teen years. So those are my top 3 leadership qualities. So that could apply to 3 to teens, you know. Yeah, I just threw that in there. But I don't really have tips for 3 to 12-year-olds. I have a reason for that. I just can't remember what it was. Oh, well. Okay. My 2.5-year-old gets so upset at bedtime, he's making himself throw up. How do we work through that? You got to just clean up the mess for a while there. You don't give into it. But yeah, he just doesn't want to go to bed. Check out my bedtime battles course. That is one of my mini toddler courses. Give that a go. See if it helps. But yeah, sometimes if they're going to throw up and then you give into that, that means that they've just learned, hey, if I throw up, I can get whatever I want. So you're just they won't do it forever. They might just do it a few times. I've met or I've heard of some kids who do that. But yeah, don't give in to that. Yeah, because then they'll learn, oh, all I have to do is vomit and I'll get whatever I want. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now, this would be coaching. This is from Ashley Marie. Been watching you a lot to learn some tips. I'm mom of 4 children. My oldest is 10 and has Prader-Willi syndrome. And his 9-year-old brother is constantly picking at him and telling him to do bad things to get him in trouble. I've tried taking his stuff and grounding to no avail, blah, blah, blah. That would be coaching because you've got like a child with special needs in there. So I can't generalize with that. Prader-Willi, isn't that the one where they eat? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not up on all this. Yeah, constant craving for food. Yeah. And they also have some cognitive delays, if I remember correctly. So yeah, you'd have to look into coaching for that. That's in the link above. 4.5-year-old who flips you and says F you. Okay, that's just a sign he doesn't respect you. You got to work on your leadership skills and he won't do that. Remember, we're never fixing kids here. We're teaching parents. They don't do that to leaders. There's no way. Okay, so work on your leadership skills and that would not happen. It just wouldn't. And I would put down on the behavior board, if you're going to get the course, the boot camp course, check that out. Otherwise, even the free behavior board, you just go, no bad words is the rule, and then follow through with the consequence. But yeah, he's sort of next level if he's doing that. So you might want to check out the course. Oh, when out in public, they break a rule and you can't do the consequence when you're out. No, you just say, when we get home, you'll do such and such. You do it when you're able to. So you wait till you get home. How do I deal with rudeness from my 12-year-old, my alphabet kid? Did you get that from me? Okay, I had put his clothes in the washing machine. That's a long one. Washing machine yesterday after 3-day trip to school was so everything is wet and muddy because I hadn't washed and dried them in 24 hours. He completely kicked off saying, you're supposed to wash my stuff. It's okay. So again, he doesn't respect you. Check out my boot camp course. That's all about you and your leadership and getting respect. Once you have respect, that attitude goes away. By the way, it's the last thing to take care of itself, but it happens organically. You never deal with attitude. In that you set yourself up as a leader and their bad attitude goes away, but you never address bad attitude because there's no point. It just means they don't respect you. Their bad attitude towards you is a sign that they don't respect you, that you're not a leader. So that's your signal to become a leader. Okay. Remember, we're never fixing kids. We're teaching parents. Yeah, he's being cheeky because he doesn't respect you. That's all. It's a tell. It's a tell. You said 2-year-old kicking? Well, that would be consistent corrective action. I do have a course on toddlers who hit, bite, etc. Check that out. But you say about attitude, but what's considered attitude to pure rudeness? It's the same thing. So if your children are rude and disrespecting you, it means you didn't earn their respect. You got to earn their respect. So what's the difference? Don't split hairs with me. It's the same thing. Rudeness is attitude. So yeah. How do I get my 5-year-old to overcome his fear of public bathrooms? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Why would he be afraid of a public bathroom? I'll tell you a funny story. My son was 9 years old, and he just didn't have to go bathroom very often when we were out and about, like in a mall. But if we were in a restaurant, he would go, and that would be fine. It'd be a small bathroom area, just like one person kind of bathroom usually. Anyway, I remember this one day, he was 9 years old, and he had to go to the bathroom at the mall. And he says, Mom, and I knew this was coming. He said, Mom, I don't want to go in the women's bathroom anymore. And sorry, I just got a notice from Facebook. Anyway, he said, I don't want to go in the women's bathroom. I knew that was coming, and I totally respect that. But I'm a bit of a safety nut, so I was bringing him in the women's bathroom if he did have to go. Anyway, so I said, okay, fine. We were at this mall. I can still remember which mall, where it was. It was in Australia where we lived. And I said, okay, sweetie, so you go in the bathroom and you use the stall. If you're not out in 2 minutes, I'm coming in after you. Okay, go in there. So not only did I say that, and I said, okay, go ahead. As soon as he went in, I held the door open. I could see all the men's backsides as they were standing up against the urinals. And I said to my son, remember to use the stall. And if you're not out in 2 minutes, I'm coming in after you. And then I let go of the door. All the men just zipped up and came running out laughing so fast. But yeah. Maybe stand right outside the door if he is going in a public bathroom by himself. There's no way I'd let a 5-year-old in a man's bathroom by himself, but he's probably still with you. Is he afraid when he's with you? I don't quite understand that. 2.5-year-old that thinks timeout is funny. Well, I hate timeout. I would never teach it. I think it's horrible. So yeah, he's laughing because he's thinking, this is horrible. Oh, the sound of the flush of the automatic toilet scares him. Yeah. You could even get him earmuffs or something if it really scares him and kind of make a joke out of it. Okay, I'm going to be flushing. Here you go. So yeah, he'll get over it. It's just a temporary thing. Okay, someone's asking me about this again. I actually wrote it down. I'm going to include it in one of my courses. Can you elaborate more or give tips on how teen siblings can be better example, or what you said yesterday about being a hero? The parent asked yesterday, how do I teach my teenager to be a leader for the 3-year-old little sibling? And I said, you don't want them to be a leader. You want them to be a hero. So you have them help them. Say, can you please help him get his shoes on? Can you please help him do this because you're so good at it? Look, your big brother, your big sister's going to help you do that because they're, so it's kind of build them up as the hero. The little one usually is snotty or demanding of the older one because they feel they don't get any attention. But if you sort of build the older one up as a hero and sort of say, can you please help me with them? Get this done. Oh, what a great big brother. Aren't you lucky to have that big brother, big sister, whatever. So that's going to take time. There's a million different things you could do. You could also have them get toys. What are those things called? Fidget toys. There's one in particular. It's that ball that has all the colored little holes with the colored balls in it. That's a really popular one right now. Maybe you could get that in your teen. You could get 2 of them, get one to your teen, and the teen could give the other one to the 3-year-old, and they could do it together. Get them to do something together that the 3-year-old could do. I got a million different ideas, but anyway. 22-month-old pulling my hair, acting up during bedtime. Okay. Are they in a cot or crib, or are they in a bed? If they're in a bed, you can check out my bedtime battles course because they have to be able to get out of bed to do that. So if they're in a bed, check that out. Otherwise, just put them in the crib and say good night and walk away. I don't know why. I don't know. I think you've already asked a couple of questions. 2-year-old hits and thinks it's funny even when I hold her hands back. Best ways to say, why do you care if she thinks it's funny? Just follow through with stopping the action. Why do you care? why she thinks it's funny. Why are you giving her so much power? I could care less if they laugh. I just stop them from hitting again. Yeah, why do you care? Why are you reacting to her? Why are you reacting to a 2.5-year-old laughing inappropriately? Why does that bother you? She's only 2.5. Don't give her all that power. Yeah, I would just hold her back. If she's laughing, I'd just ignore her. No way would I give that any attention. Twin 4-year-olds that they gang up on you and they don't listen to you. Again, they're only doing that because you're not a leader. They don't respect you. Respect is something you have to earn. It's never handed to you on a silver platter. You have to work for that. You have to earn that to set yourself up as a leader. Once you're a leader, they don't do that. They want to please you. It's a natural reaction to want to please a leader. Have you ever had a mentor or a teacher or a sports coach that you looked up to that brought out the best in you, made you feel good? That's what I teach. That's leadership to me. It's like a really fun sports coach that still makes you follow the rules. Okay. So yeah, you just haven't earned their respect. Everyone always blames their kids for all this. It has nothing to do with your children. It's you. Their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. Everyone's blaming their kids for their bad behavior. Look in a mirror. It's your responsibility. Their behavior is you, not them. Not them, not them, not them. It's you. Take full responsibility. Whenever I was working with kids and I managed to get respect with all of them, I never worked with easy kids. Not once, not ever. No one ever said to me, here's an easy one, Lisa. They all went, good luck with this one. Teenagers, toddlers, whatever. I managed to get respect with all of them. Was it me or was it them? Those difficult kids. Was it me? I got respected. I just luck out every single time I worked with all those hundreds of kids. Was it me or was it them? Who was the power there? Think about it. Whenever a kid acted out under my care, I always thought, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? They weren't even my kids. Take responsibility for your children's actions. They don't listen to you because you're not a leader. I teach leadership here. Check out my course. There's no one sentence to teach you how to be a leader. You have to look at the behavior board, or you can go up to the boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. That's how you learn how to be a leader. It's a process. It's a whole system. I'm just throwing in snippets here answering your questions, but it's a process. It's something you have to learn like a package. In a crib, just put them to bed and just say, that's it. Good night. That was the one who said, my 2.5-year-old pulls my hair at bedtime and is just difficult. I said, well, they're in a crib, just leave them in the crib. Good night and walk away. Don't give them power. How do you suggest I bring structure to the home and manage chaos with 4 children and one's a newborn? Yeah, you got to get systems in place. There's 3 different things that I work on with routines. One is school morning routine, one is mealtime routine, and one is bedtime routine. Master those 3 and everything else gets a little bit easier. So you might want to check into the boot camp course. It goes into all 3 of those if they're 3 to 12 years old. But yeah. Get some routines going. Start small, though. You don't try and manage everything in day 1. Just manage one of those routines. And then the next week you manage another routine. Then the next week you do a third one. The most common thing I probably deal with is bedtime routine. Of all those 3 routines, that's the most common one, is bedtime routine. It's the hardest one in the moment, but it's the fastest one to solve, is bedtime routine. I do have a mini course on that for 2 to 8-year-olds. It's also included in my boot camp course that goes from 3 to 12 years old. My husband doesn't agree with having to give reminders to our tween and teen. A tween is 9 to 12. I've said I don't mind the reminders, but it's causing issues between my husband and I. Why are you reminding them? Just have a consequence if they don't do it. I don't do reminders. That's in the nagging department. Why are you nagging them? They're too old. They know what to do. So they're just manipulating you. If you feel you have to remind them, they're manipulating you. Just don't remind them. And then when they don't do what they need to do, then there's a consequence. So I agree with your husband with that one. Repeating yourself, nagging, reminding, that's all a sign of weakness. They're in charge. They're manipulating you. We have a spare master. Would you like to move in for a few months? I got offered, a crap ton of money a couple of years ago to literally to move way far away. I thought, will I ever get home? It was it's such a random place. But anyway, I mean, a crap ton of money would have set me and my grandchildren up for life. anyway, to move in for a month. And I said, yeah, but then when I leave, what's going to happen then? So, but yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I never did it. I teach parenting. I don't do it for people, but I can see it would certainly be a lot easier that someone came in and every single thing you do, they say, yeah, do this, do that, do that. That would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? I wouldn't do it for you, but I would certainly be coaching you. Bedtime is the hardest because my children are ages 5, 3, and 2, and 4 months old and tend to wake each other up. Okay, what you do is you single them out. So I would work on the 5-year-old first, and I would single them out. I would put the other ones in my room and just on mattresses around the room, just temporarily, and say, we're just training your brother or your sister how to go to bed, and then do the 5-year-old. And then you do the next one. Probably do one at a time. If you've got 4 kids, yeah, do one at a time. Check out the Bedtime Battles course. How do I deal with a 2-year-old who kicks and screams getting into the car every single time? You win that battle. Win the battle. I just talked to a parent yesterday about how to get a kid into a car seat on a school bus. And they said, what do I do? And I said, win the battle. Get that kid in that car seat. You're going to come out looking like this. And, you might be all askew, but you win that battle. Do not let them win. Never. You make sure you get them in that car seat, no matter what you got to do, what you look like after, what kind of scene you're going through. And you don't say anything and you don't look at them. You just win the battle. Remember, my friends and I used to call it the karate chop. My son would go stiff as a board. You know how they're actually more like that? They go so back, they get the back arch. And I'd just hold him over the car seat. And then as soon as he took a breath, I'd give him the karate chop, bend him and snap, get him in. Well, I didn't actually chop him, but you know what I mean? I'd wait, hold his stomach, and then I'd just fold him in there. So, but yeah, you don't let them win that battle. If they do, they win that one. They're going to win the next one and the next one and the next one. Sometimes it just gets ugly. What consequence would you say is appropriate for 4-year-olds hitting, scratching each other? Well, put no hurting other people on the behavior board, and then there's a consequence. So the consequence would be something like this. Do a chore within 15 minutes of being asked to do so, or 24-hour media blackout if they won't do that one. The consequence is inconsequential. I just wanted to say that. Anyway, it doesn't matter what the consequence is. You're getting them to do a good deed. They do something wrong, they have to do something good. So it's not what the consequence is, it's the follow through with you is what counts. Everyone wants to know what's the consequence that makes all the difference in the world. There isn't one. It doesn't really matter what the consequence is. It's just a good deed. If they won't do it, then you do the second one, which is take something away. So don't get caught up in what it is. It doesn't matter. Someone said, this is D Silva on, what time is it? I'm going to have to go soon. D Silva on YouTube. I have so much guilt for making my 11-month-old baby cry it out so much when he was a newborn. How do I make amends with him and move on? He's 11 months old. I don't think he's going to remember that. I wouldn't worry about it. Guilt is a bit of a killer. Guilt is not something that's going to serve you very well. Just do better today and tomorrow. And you were doing the best you knew how, or the best you were able to do at the time. Don't worry about it. Parenting guilt will really make you, it'll make everything fail. It won't lead you to success with parenting. It'll lead you to failure with parenting. It'll get in the way. Just let it go. Say, I did the best I knew how. Oh, well, let it go. Okay, I'm going to move over to Instagram now if you want to follow me over there. It's pretty busy over there, but I'll do my best to answer questions. And then I go over to TikTok. They're both really busy platforms. And then I'm also on YouTube the whole time while I'm doing this. And that's where all my lives are saved. Anyway, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. And anyway, I'll get back to you as soon as I can with coaching. It's a bit of a wait list right now. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. And I'm over to Instagram now. Bye now. Oh, sugar. Sorry, I had the camera the wrong way. That happened yesterday too, and I never had to correct that before. I don't know why it's doing that now, but it was just filming my whiteboard. Okay, here we go. Got it. Okay, this is a awkward question for me. I'll tell you why in a second. For ages 7 and 9, should there be consequences for not practicing their sport or instrument? No, I work on the as soon as method. Sure, you can play video games as soon as you finish practicing. ... So use the incentive program. Yes, you can. Yes, you can have your phone back or whatever it is. You can play video games as soon as. It's called the as soon as method. So have the incentive program. They can do what they want to do when they do what they had to do. Okay, that's how you do that. So there's no punishment for not doing it, but it's an incentive program. Like that's all I ever used with my kids. They never needed discipline because I was a leader from the time they were little. So it would just be, if I wanted them to do something or they forgot to make their bed or they forgot to do homework or whatever, I waited. And as soon as they said, Mommy, can we please have a snack? I'd say, sure, as soon as you make your bed. And they'd run and make it. And they go, oh, okay, sorry. And they go and make it. And then they'd get a snack. See, I did the as soon as method. So they could never figure out. My son once said, you never told us what to do. I said, no, I didn't have to. So, yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention, I think 2 days ago or yesterday, I hit 450,000 here on Instagram. And I just want to say thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. I think I hit for another 3,000 since yesterday. So, but I'm just floored by the following. No one's more surprised than I am, believe me. Anyway, okay. So thank you for that. It's much appreciated. I don't take it for granted at all. How many times do you say no when 2-year-old whining and asking for X or whatever? Okay, you just say no, and then you ignore. Then they continue whining, you just ignore it. But you say no the first time. But you got to be quick. As soon as they ask nicely, then you answer them. But the answer may still be no. So if they're asking for something and you say no, but yeah, it's repetition, repetition, repetition. You got to ignore a lot of this stuff. Any attention tends to make it grow. Oh, you're asking about how to help your sister parent? There's no way would I do that. I don't tell other people how to parent in my personal life ever. Like I've got a grandchild, and someone said, "Oh, how do you hand out advice to them?" Well, anytime you offer unsolicited advice to a parent, it's criticizing them. It's criticism. Let's say you were overweight and someone said, I'm just trying to help. My intentions are good, but here's a really good diet you could use. Think about it. It's the same thing. Exactly the same thing. It's people. A lot of people are nasty hiding behind good intentions. You know what I mean? Like, I meant well. I'm just trying to help. No, you're not. No, you're hurting their feelings. So don't do it. If they ask your advice, then you can maybe send them to my channel or someone else, but only if they ask. And by the way, I have not felt one speck of any need or any inclination to want to hand out any advice to my son and his girlfriend. They're doing a fabulous job as parents. What age do you transition from crib to bed? There is no specific age. I actually have clients, they have a 4-year-old still in the crib. They've never tried to get out. So if they like it, then what the heck? They can be 44 and still in the crib. I don't care. But yeah, I would, with my kids, as soon as they flopped out and fell on the floor, that was it. I dismantled the crib instantly. They were both about 2 and took the crib apart, just put the mattress on the floor and surrounded it by pillows. Sometimes they'd roll off that and then, get a life. They just fell like 6 inches. So yeah, as soon as they flopped out, or before there, if you can do it. I never understand this. How can you help a deeply feeling child? Aren't they all? I don't understand that. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, parent-in-law advice when they overstep. So when you've got bossy bossy in-laws or whatever, and they are interfering in your parenting, here's what I would say. I would say, when you undermine my parenting, it makes me feel bad. What can they say to that without being nasty? Do you know what I mean? If they keep interfering, then they know they're hurting your feelings because you've already said it. So yeah, it puts them on the spot. And some people don't care if they hurt your feelings. They'll continually hide behind good intentions, which is garbage. It's passive aggressive. So yeah, just say it hurts my feelings. If they don't respect that, you're stuck with that type of in-law. Nothing I can help you with. If they don't respect that, what can you do, right? I would just be horrified if my daughter-in-law said that to me. If she had to say that to me, I would be horrified that I did that to her. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine wanting to hurt someone like that. So yeah, that's on them. If they keep doing it, just go, oh, well, can't change them. Someone who is emotional but is explosive from having a big feelings, hits and throws their body around. So you mean just a handful? They're just a handful? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah, they just are feisty. That's what I mean. That's how I interpret that. Yeah, check out, if they're 3 and over, check out the behavior board of the boot camp course. Because when you're a good leader, it calms them down. They're feisty because they're probably used to getting their own way by being feisty. If that never works, that tends to go away. Advice on how to get a 3-year-old to sleep in their own bed in their room. Check out my Bedtime Battles course. It's a whole course on how to do that. I don't even think I introduced myself on here, did I? I can't remember, because I hop around from different platforms. Anyway, I'll do it now. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. Anyway, so let's get going. Today was my first day of my daughter. She left her corporate job yesterday. Today was her first full-time day with me. She's my partner in the business. She does all the marketing and all the planning. And yeah, she loves business and I don't. I just want to talk about parenting. So she kind of runs all that stuff. That's a wonderful partnership. It's very exciting. Oh, and she likes being in charge and in control. I don't. So I follow orders beautifully. I have no interest in being in control of this business. Let her do it all. I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to parents. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. In a recent video, you said you didn't allow kids to leave the house with a toy. Why is that? What did they play with when they were out? Okay. They never took their toys when they were out. Like, they never took their toys, were something that stayed at home because they got lost, they got broken, they got dirty, right? I'm really fussy and clean. So, but I did have a little goodie bag that I would take out, and it was just full of, and I'd throw in a bunch of different toys every time we'd go out. But the big one, or the most important one, was the shopping goodie bag. I had like a shopping goodie bag. And as soon as they sat up in that shopping cart, I handed it to them, and it had little toys. I put different stuff in every time. They had little drinks, sippy cups, and snacks, but they were just little things, and it got put away. It was only taken out when we were out. So I had outside little things they could play with that would, hold their attention when we were out. But when we were out, we were doing stuff. So yeah, I didn't need stuff when we were out. But if we took them to a restaurant, I took that along. I had maybe coloring book, little puzzles in there. So, but yeah, they're nice toys. Like, they would never have been able to take Lego or Barbies or anything like, it's going to get lost, dirty, broken. Other kids are going to want to play with it. I've seen kids take their prized dolls or toys to like a playground, and then other kids pick it up and the kids have a fit and everything. And I'm thinking, not only does that thing get dirty, but it causes fights with other little toddlers. Don't understand that's not theirs, because your kid puts it down in the dirt and then, it's just filthy. So yeah, I just didn't like it. Plus, when we're out, we're doing stuff. 4.5-year-old copying bad behavior in daycare. By that age, if you're a leader at home, they're not susceptible to that at all. They're under your leadership umbrella because they feel good about themselves when they're with you, and they like who they are when they're with you. So they tend to carry that everywhere they go. Now, past the age of 4, they only do what works. So if their bad behavior, it just says you're not a leader, by the way. So yeah, they're not susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, or the Kardashians if they have a leader at home. If they don't, they're very susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. Get the idea? Your leadership at home carries everywhere they go, even when you're not with them. So if they're picking up bad behavior, that's a tell. It means you're not a leader. Okay, I get asked this a lot. Is it the same person who keeps asking? In the last week, this has been asked a lot. What do you think of jumping jacks or push-ups as discipline for slightly older kids? I don't like it. I don't like using exercise as discipline. I just don't. I don't want to go into why, but it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like it. And you have to put a full question down and the age of the children. Like if it's a continuation, I won't look at it. I need the whole question. Does your advice apply to nannies? Absolutely not. My advice is parenting only. It doesn't apply to teachers, daycare workers, principals, child psychologists. They're all my clients, but I teach them parenting. I only teach parenting. If you've got a nanny, you have to tell them what to do. That's up to you. It's not, I don't teach that at all. Bedtime routine, I have a whole course on that. It's in 2 parts, how to get them in bed, then how to keep them there. That's in my mini toddler course up above. It goes from 2 to 8 years old though. But yeah, check that out. Okay, I love being silly, playing in their world, because I always say you connect with kids by playing in their world. But how do I turn it off? You put a timer on. You get I was going to say get your phone. Well, my phone's right here. So you get your phone, you say, okay, I'm going to be playing for 20 minutes. As soon as this goes off, I'm going to go make dinner. So you set that precedent up before you even start playing. Then as soon as it goes off, you get up and leave. That's it. They'll eventually learn. Does your method work for kids with ODD, ages 3 to 12? There is no such thing as ODD. It was made up by doctors to make moms feel better, which is ridiculous because it also absolves you of responsibility. A lot of people use it as a crutch so that they don't have to lead their kids. Oh, well, I can't do anything. He's got ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. It is not a medical diagnosis at all. So yeah, my method works for kids. So ODD is not it's not a thing. Doctors have told me that. They said they just made it up. Many doctors have told me that. So, because some of my clients are doctors, right? Okay. Plus, anytime you label your children, like you say, how do I help my child? He has ADHD, ODD. I'm not teaching kids here. I'm teaching parenting. Your parenting applies to all of those. And even if you have children with autism, it's more of a specialty. I do just suggest that in coaching, but you still should be a leader for your children, no matter what diagnoses or labels or alphabets they have after their name. You still want to be a leader for them. Yeah, I've worked with hundreds of kids, and whenever I was given a file to review of a child I was going to be working with, I never opened one, not one. I treated the child, not the diagnosis. I connected with them. So whatever was in, I used to call them alphabet kids. They had ADD, ODD, WXYZ after their name. And I thought it was sad. They'd sometimes even introduce themselves like that. Hi, I'm Johnny. I have ADHD. I'm like, oh, poor kid. Yeah. So no, don't lean on those diagnoses. And that's not even a diagnosis anyway. ODD. It's not a thing. And whenever your kids are acting out between the ages of 3 and 12, it's 100% a direct result of your parenting. That's all it is. That's it. 100% of their behavior between the ages of 3 and 12 years old is your parenting. So work on your leadership. Their misbehavior is a sign you got to up your leadership skills. That's all it is. Where can I view the behavior board? Everything I have, the behavior board, the courses, the coaching, it's all in that one link above. Okay. It's in my bio, or on YouTube. It's in the description. If your 4-year-old hits you, You wait till the meltdown's over, and then you say no hitting. Put it on the behavior board, say no hitting. And then you're calm as anything, okay? And you don't discuss the meltdown. You never discuss tantrums, scenes, fits, meltdowns. Don't discuss them. There's no point. No point whatsoever. And then you say, okay, you hit me. So here's the consequence. You said, my child is 3 years old and is overactive. How do I calm her down, please? Well, I don't know. If you got a busy life, if you've got activities for her, if you've, like a lot of hyper kids need something to do inside the house too, not just because you can't always go outside and play. So, you know, that rebounder, it's a little mini round trampoline and it's got the little bar. A lot of kids, I've recommended that to a lot of parents, or just say, you know, if you think you want to get it, give it a go. I have one client who had a really hyperactive kid, and this kid didn't bounce. You know what he did? You know that bar that goes across? He just spun around on it over and over and over. She goes, it was great. She just watched him spin like crazy. So yeah, have you got something for her to do if she's super overactive? By the way, if you're interested in that boot camp course, it's 3 to 12 years old. It's 5 weeks on how to get respect, setting yourself up as a leader. It's work. You got to work. You got to earn this. It's work. When I was dealing with kids, I worked my butt off to figure all this out. I'm self-taught. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. I was always kind of good at it. The daycare ladies used to ask me, how do you do that? The kids think you're fun, but they still respect you. I didn't know what leadership was. I just kind of always innately knew how to do it. But I honed my skills over a period of years and decades, obviously. And then I started working with troubled teenagers, delinquent teenagers. They taught me more than any other kid ever did. And they're the ones who said, you got to teach this, Lisa. No one's ever talked to us the way you do. And one of them said to me, he says, I didn't like myself till I met you. That's the nicest thing I think anyone's ever said to me. That I didn't like myself till I met you. I know how to get the best out of kids and teenagers, and I make them like themselves. And then in turn, how do you think they're going to treat me? How do you think they're going to treat someone who makes them feel good about themselves? I don't take any crap. I deal with bad behavior, but I focus on the good kid. My focus is always on them, not their behavior. So I'm scrolling ahead to make sure that you're here while I answer. 3-year-old, give consequence, but they refuse to do it. You haven't seen the behavior board. It goes through that. They have 2 consequences. First one is a positive action. If they won't do it, then you do a negative deprivation, 24-hour media blackout or whatever. So yeah, check out the behavior board. It explains that. Can disciplining a 3-year-old too much destroy their confidence and leadership skills? Well, I don't discipline a lot. I'm more about connecting. So yeah, check out the boot camp course. It's more about connecting. The discipline is a tiny part. I always say you deal with bad behavior, get it over and done with, like pulling off a Band-Aid. Then you focus on the good kid. Check out the pool story. It's my video called Example of Leadership Parenting, and it's the pool story. It explains leadership. You deal with bad behavior, get it done, and then you focus on the good kid. Bring out the best in them. They like themselves when they're with you, therefore they want to please you. It's a natural instinct to want to please someone, or you certainly don't want to disappoint someone that makes you feel great about yourself, right? So yeah, I don't discipline a lot. I never disciplined my kids. Past the age of about 3.5, they were self-disciplined. Yeah, because they respected me and I respected them. It's mutual. I was very accountable. If I messed up, I was accountable. Believe me, my kids loved it when I messed up. Mom, didn't you say you were going to do that and you forgot? I go, oh, shoot, that's right. What do you want? We'd love to go to the water slide park tomorrow. I'm like, okay, I'll bring your suits after school. So yeah, stuff like that. Do you have any other credentials related to behavior regulation besides being a parent yourself? I really like your content and was curious about this. No, but a huge portion of my clients have child development degrees. Yeah, parenting's more, it's just experience-based. And I didn't learn much with my own kids, I'll be honest. It was all the hundreds of kids I worked with. They taught me all this stuff. I got respect with my kids when they were little and sailed right through the teen years. So yeah, it was all the other kids. Yeah. Huge portion of my clients, teachers, principals, child psychologists, they still struggle. I couldn't do their jobs. Parenting's personal, it's different. There is no degree in parenting. None. I guess your degree is, are your kids grown up? Are they high functioning? Have they grown up and they're independent? They're not in jail? I guess that's the PhD, right? Also, if you were going to take parenting advice from someone, I'd be really careful. And I know, by the way, a client that I had recently, very high up in working with children, said that what they learn, what is taught out there, it couldn't be more different from what I teach. So they have degrees out the wazoo, but they're not necessarily teaching the most effective things all the time. So yeah, they explained to me why so many of my clients have child development degrees. I never asked before. I don't care about that stuff. I just teach what I know. But yeah, it's kind of antiquated. It takes a long time for the formal education system to catch up to what's really necessary, what's going on out there. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of frustrating for me when I heard what they were teaching. Years and years ago, I thought, well, I'm going to be a child psychologist, right? Because I was so interested in kids. And so I was about 20 years old. So this is back when dinosaurs were roaming. And I signed up, and after a week of a course, prerequisite course to be a child psychologist, after about a week, they kicked me out because I asked too many questions, because what they were teaching was garbage. I knew that. And, but I'm sure they've improved it, but evidently it's still doing a lot of what I couldn't believe that some of the stuff they were teaching. I thought, okay, it's just not my way. Okay. It's just not what I teach. Anyway. Yeah, they kicked me out. I should have held out for 2 weeks and they would have paid me double to get rid of me. And the other students were asking me questions too. It was very patronizing, a lot of analysis, very little action. And it was all done in the adult world. It wasn't done like everything I do is to fit the child's world. And it was all done from the adult world. It was just, yeah, I hated it. So obviously, thank God I never did that, because I could never have been under someone else's umbrella. Kids taught me all this. Kids taught me everything I know about kids. I went right to the source. I figured them out. They were a puzzle, and I solved the puzzle. That's the way I look at it. And I'm 63. I've been doing this forever. Okay. Is too much praise negative? For example, I tell my 3-year-old daughter her hair looks pretty and her dress is pretty, and she's never smart. I don't want her to have a big head. And she's never smart. You probably mean very smart. Anyway, I always say parents tend to overpraise and underplay. Praise is okay, but it's not as important as play. So praise is okay, but parents tend to overpraise and underplay. Play is their love language. Praise is not their love language at all. You look at, let's say you have a 5-year-old boy and you say to him, you're wonderful, you're special, you're good looking, you're funny, you're blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to go do the dishes now. What is he doing? This is him. You say to that same little boy, hey, what are you doing? Can I play too? Look at the difference. Yeah, okay. What makes him feel better, the praise or the play? And also, praise does not get good behavior. That is absolute a myth. It does not get good behavior at all. Doesn't make any sense that it would. God, I want to go on about that one. Anyway, I won't. That's all. I love all the psychology behind this. Why praise does not get good behavior. Yeah, I'll save you from that lecture. If you don't talk about feeling stuff, how did your kids learn emotional intelligence? I did talk about feelings, but not in the moment, not when they were all upset. And the thing is that when you're a good leader and you play with your kids a lot, all their feelings are happy ones. They don't have bad feelings. That's the whole point. They tend to be positive and happy. And when they want to work something out, they come to you and they talk to you about it. Okay? So you're not having the mini therapy sessions when they're all upset, discussing all their big feelings and big emotions. And you shouldn't have that tantrum. It's okay to, all that's ridiculous. So yeah, once you're a leader and you're playing with them and they're happy, their feelings tend to be good. That's the whole point. You want happy, happy kids. Right? Think about it. All those big feelings and big emotions come from miserable kids. When they're upset about things all the time, that says you're not a leader because they're not happy. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go to Hi Sweden and Charlotte. It's on YouTube from Sweden. Hello. Mary Carpenter, my 2.5-year-old screams and my 9-month-old screams and my 9-month-old in a mean way until he cries. Oh, at the 9-month-old. Yeah, I would just pick up the 9-month-old and coddle them and play with them to show, you know what I mean? You're protecting them from her, and then just snub her. And just for a little bit, and she'll get the idea. I'm due in 7 days. Any newborn advice? I've got the best advice you'll ever hear about having a new baby. So hang on here. Mom and baby, happy and healthy. That's it. That's it. Don't worry about the housework. Don't worry about other people who want to visit, but you don't want them to because you're tired. Just tell them no. Mom and baby, happy and healthy. That's it. Oh my God, a lot of big fancy words in here. I'll read it out. How about when you are parallel parenting, so co-parenting with someone else? How do you deal with kids' emotional dysregulation and they tell you the other parent are talking bad about your parenting? Set yourself up as a leader and none of that stuff has to be analyzed or worked out. Okay? You just follow all my leadership stuff and none of that stuff will even be an issue. Dysregulation, children who have a leader are regulated. They feel calm. It calms them down. They feel taken care of. When you're a leader, that stuff just isn't even an issue. So yeah, it's all about leadership. Remember, we're not fixing kids, we're teaching parents here. Set yourself up as a leader. Think about it. Have you ever had anyone really strong and calm that you could talk to about anything? My mother was that person for me. I told her everything. Poor mom had to listen to it all. I word vomited. My daughter the other morning said, "Oh, sorry, I just word vomited on you." And I said, "Oh, that's just part of being a mother. I did it with my mom. You did it. You do it with me. Your daughter will do it with you." Like, daughters word vomit on their moms. So just think about it. And the sons can do the same thing. It's you just be that safe place to land. They can tell you anything and everything. That is what regulates their emotions, not discussing it. It's all these discussions around everything. Take action more than discussions, especially when they're young. Do you give them a warning and remind them of the rule when they have broken before following through with the consequence? Well, if they're 3 and over, you can point to the board and say, remember the board. But no, I wouldn't do a lot of reminding. And I would only say that once. If you remind, you're micromanaging and nagging. So yeah, just maybe if you really think they don't get it, they're really little. But if they're 5 and over, I wouldn't remind them. And then when they break the rule, "Oh, I forgot. And then I would say, well, you'll know next time. Like, you're learning, you'll know next time. And I'd follow through with the consequence. Make it happen. 20-minute tantrum. Is that too long? That's a short one, actually. They can go for an hour or more. Oh, pardon me. Okay. Oh, your 3-year-old doesn't want dad to do anything like changing diapers, toys, and everything. Okay. I'll give you a good example of this. Yeah, it's a manipulative tactic, by the way. So it's like they can't control being changed, so they'll try and stall by getting the other parent there. No, they'll find something that they think you're going to give in. It's a tell that says that you usually give in, or it bothers you when they do that. So I remember once my husband at the time was giving the kids a bath. And one of them yelled out, "Oh, I want mom." And he said, well, and I always told him, just say you're stuck with me. So he said, "You're stuck with me," and just keep bathing them. So then they actually said it again. They said, "I want mom." And I yelled out, "Dad said you're stuck with him." So I never said it again. It's like, don't give in to that stuff. It's just manipulation. It's stalling tactics. Yeah, just say, "Oh, you're stuck with dad." And just keep following through no matter how much they kick up a storm. Oh, you've suggested while tantrums being thrown to just sit close by and ignore, but not to walk away. However, my toddler asks us to leave her alone and wants privacy during her tantrum. Should we leave? Why doesn't she get up and go? I wouldn't talk to her. If she's tantruming and screaming, I would just pretend I didn't even hear that. If she wants privacy, you see, she's trying to tell you what to do. She's trying to control you. It's another manipulative tactic. She's trying to control you. You get up, you go, you hop on one foot. She's trying to control you. It's a dominating technique. So I would just stand there filing my nails, ignoring her. She wants privacy. She can go. Right? Yeah, it's a do what I say right now. You go. That's all it is. It's control. Three-year-old, I don't like dad. I don't love dad. Say whatever. Like, why would you give that any attention? Say whatever. Alrighty then. What is your opinion on timeout? I hate timeout. I can't stand it. I think it's humiliating, mean, and it doesn't teach them anything. You know, when you say you go in the corner, you're not even worth talking to. You go sit in that corner. You think about what you did. They're not. They're sitting there feeling like crap about themselves. It's a bullying thing. I can't stand timeout. I think it's mean. So what do you do instead? Everything else I teach. Check out the behavior board. Look at my toddler courses. Look at my boot camp course. Look, I got tons. I got thousands and thousands of videos on all my platforms. Okay, good question, but not for the reason you think. Does a 2-year-old understand the word no? Yeah, they do. It doesn't mean they're going to listen to it. Understanding something and following along with it are two different things. They don't act out because they don't understand that they shouldn't. They act out because they want to. Do you understand the difference? It's not understanding. That's not their problem. It's the impulse control. Right? Yeah, they understand. They just doesn't mean they're gonna, you say no, they're not gonna just, okay, never mind. You say no, they're like, so I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. Okay. Another thing that's sort of like that is young children do not act out because they feel misunderstood. They act out because they didn't get what they want, when they wanted it, and how they wanted it. Right? Kids don't act out because they feel misunderstood. Because if they get what they want, they don't give a hoot if you understand them. You get what I'm saying? It's just they're upset because they didn't get what they want, not that they feel misunderstood. But why? But why? That I would not answer that. Yeah, if dad gives in, that's why they keep saying it. Yeah, it's manipulating, control. It's like they're like puppet master, and the dad is just like this. Yeah, they're controlling dad. So I'm scrolling ahead. Oh, what time is it? Oh, shoot. I'm late. I got to go to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. If not, check out my link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, or my boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. So happy parenting. I'm hopping over to TikTok, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. Okay, this is from Anne Charlotte on YouTube from Sweden. At what age do you believe children should start an organized activity like football, dance, or such? I'd say around 3. I got my kids into stuff pretty early. I got them into gymboree when they were babies, and then they went to the gym daycare when they were up on their feet and walking, because I worked out every day. And then I think they were about, I always had them in something. There was always something organized, swimming lessons or whatever. But yeah, by about 3, that's when I would drop them off. I'd still be there, but they would go off sort of on their own. I wasn't right there with them. So yeah, at about 3. I think it's good for them. And yeah, they do get separation anxiety, but that's okay. I would have just gone, you're all right. You're okay. Like I saw that my daughter she was like Velcro with me. She just wanted to be with mom all the time. And she started dance at 3 years old. And she was not a crier. She was a super sweet little easy kid. But she just wanted to be with me. And I was way off on the side watching her dance with the dance class. And all she did was look at me like this the whole time. And I just go like this. You're all right. So she learned. No way would I give into that. It's good for them to learn how to be independent. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to introduce myself. I forgot to do that in one of the platforms just a minute ago. Anyway, my name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course for 3 to 12 years old, 5 weeks, how to be a leader, or you can look into coaching. So let's get going with your parenting questions. What to do with a clingy toddler? Just trying to think of different situations. If they want to be picked up all the time and I couldn't pick them up, you give them a lot of attention. You fill up their cup, right? So you play with them a lot. And then you say, okay, I'm going to go and do that now. And if they don't listen, I just peel them off me and keep doing what I'm doing. Let them cry. They do give up eventually. Once they learn that when you say something, my kids learned really young when I said what I mean and I mean what I say. When I said I was going to change their diaper, I changed their diaper. When I said I was going to brush their teeth, I brushed their teeth. When I said I was going to cook dinner and stop playing, they learn. They just learn. Follow through. Don't give in. If you change your mind, that teaches them to keep at you, keep grabbing at you. It's usually something that they learn from you, that clinginess. Okay, how do I help my 4-year-old to be less shy around adults? Is that necessary? I don't want to go on about that, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Yeah, I would just let it go. Say hi to so-and-so. I didn't do that with my kids. I just said, he's shy. Let's enjoy the quiet for now. Whenever, and it's funny because parents are often offended by this, but whenever they have a kid and they're introducing their kid to me, like in my personal life, they say, oh, I'm sorry, he's so shy, he won't talk to you. And I'm like, good. Because once they start talking and they get comfortable, then they start racing around, jumping all over you, grabbing at you. So I'm saying, oh, good, I like it when they're shy. So parents are kind of like, ooh, but yeah, that's okay. People usually are okay with that. Do you think daycare is bad? No. Okay, I talk about this quite often. It's the fork in the road. My almost 3-year-old decided she doesn't want to listen anymore. Used to be really good. Advice? 3-year-old is the fork in the road. At 3, if you've been a leader, they get super easy. If they're 3 and you haven't been a leader, they often go the other way. Do you know why? At 3, they stop and think and they go, wait a minute. And they look back at the last 3 years and they think, wait, you don't know what you're doing. I think I'll take over. If you're not a leader, it's the fork in the road. They're able to stop and think and they reason through that you don't know what you're doing. So they take over. Or if you've been a leader, super easy, because there's no point fighting you because you know what you're doing. So yeah, 3 years old is that fork in the road. Check out my boot camp course. It starts at 3. Check out the boot camp course. It's not a one answer thing. It's a whole process. Your leadership takes about 5 weeks to learn how to do. That's what the boot camp course is all about. It starts with the behavior boards. The behavior board's completely free, but then it goes on from there. It teaches you what to do after, because I would never use a behavior board. It's a teaching tool. But after you've mastered the behavior board, then you go off the behavior board, and that's the course. Oh, don't ask me about other parenting methods. I'm not going to critique that. I think that's tacky. The only thing I talk about is the old-fashioned authority-style parenting and the newfangled pleaser parent. Whatever's under those umbrellas, I don't know. I've never looked at other parenting methods. Why would I? I've learned everything through kids. I've never looked at I've never read a book on parenting or kids. Why would I? I would disagree with probably everything anyway, because I teach from experience only. I only teach from my own experience with kids. That's it. So yeah, I don't critique other people. I've been asked to be on some pretty big shows with other parenting coaches discussing our different methods. I can't think of anything worse. It would be like being religious and talking about, arguing about different religions. What's the point? I hate that kind of trashy stuff. I see it as tacky. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. Whatever resonates with you and you feel comfortable doing, then do it. Although there's 2 criteria. If I was going to take parenting advice from someone, I would look for these 2 criteria from the person you're looking at. They have to have finished the job with their own kids. Have they raised their kids? Have they lived with teenagers? Are their kids adults? Do they know how to go right through the years? If I would never take advice from someone who just has young children. It's like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. It doesn't make any sense at all. Have they lived with teenagers? Right? The second one is they might have just had really easy kids. Have they worked with hundreds of other kids, teenagers, toddlers, with special needs, ill children? Have they worked with all these other kids, hundreds of them? Because I didn't learn much with my own kids. I only had 2 of them. They were both pretty easy. I got respect when they were little and sailed right through. But I specialize in troubled teens. I didn't learn that with my own kids at all. But I know how to live with teenagers too. It's different. It's different when they're your own. So yeah, those are the 2 criteria. I've heard there's a lot of people out there teaching parenting and they just have little ones. That makes no sense at all to me. How do you know if what you're doing today is going to work? Often it backfires. A lot of what is taught backfires. When they reach about 3, 4, 7, it'll backfire big time. So yeah, how on earth could they teach parenting if they haven't finished the job? It doesn't make any sense. It's one of the benefits of being old. So I've done it. Okay, best way to continue raising a kind child from toddler stage on. You give respect to get it. Children who are raised with respect, they're kind. My son was in grade 2 and his teacher called me on their lunch hour to tell me this. She said, I asked your son, why are you so nice? And he looked up and he says, Mommy makes us be nice. Like they had no choice. You're darn right. I treated them with respect and I got it back. They treated other people with respect too. So. Well, this is kind of, if someone said, how do you stop hitting? That's like going to a diet center and say, how do I stop eating? They can just tell you what to do well. They can't force you to stop eating what you're going to eat. But I just teach you what to do instead of hitting. I can't teach you how to not hit. I can just teach you what to do instead of hitting. So just look at all my videos, check out my courses. Yeah. But that's on you. You've got to stop. I can't stop you from hitting. You have to do that. I'm a full-time mom and stay-at-home mom. Should I still put my children in daycare a few days a week for socialization? My kids went in the gym daycare every morning, so that was where they socialized. And I was always out and about. I was in lots of play groups, had friends with young children. So we were always out and about. And I never liked, if they were hanging on to me, I would just say, no, you go play, you go play. So I was always pushing them to be, when I was talking to other moms, I wanted them to go off and play, and they did. They were really good about that. But we were always out and about. So yeah. I'm going to tell you this story just because I like this story. It doesn't really pertain to what I was talking about, but just about how my son was very cautious child. He never liked taking chances. He wasn't a climber. He didn't run away. He was a very cautious, methodical type of child. He thought before he did stuff. And so he was never dangerous, right? Anyway, I remember this one time, sometimes your brain just disappears. I was 9 months pregnant. This was 2 weeks before I had my daughter. He was 5 years old. He just turned 5 because he was 5 years and 2 weeks when she was born. So I was 2 weeks from giving birth to her. I was giant. And I took my son. This is just so dumb. I still can't believe I did this. I took him to a new Hungry Jack's, which in Australia is Burger King. They have a different name for it over there. And that's where my kids were born and raised, in Australia. So anyway, we went to this Hungry Jack's. We'd never been there before. We were out and about somewhere. So it was in a different suburb. So there was this giant slide in the playground. Now, he was not an adventuresome child at all. I don't know why he asked, and I don't know why I said yes. He said, can I go on that slide? And I said, sure. I was pregnant. It was stinking hot. I had summer babies in Australia. Stinking hot there. Anyway, I was hot, sweaty, tired. And I said, sure, go for it. And then I was watching him, and he was going up the stair. And as soon as he was going up there, I thought, oh, my God. He was going up, and it was one of those slides where it has a wire cage around the ladder in case a kid slipped. It was a really straight up, really high ladder. And then it was an enclosed slide, one of those ones that twirls around, right? Big plastic thing. And I thought, oh, gee. And I was just watching this, and the dread was coming on. I could feel it. I was nauseous throughout that whole pregnancy, too. It was awful. Anyway, so I'm watching him, and he gets to the top, and I knew what was coming. He said, I'm scared. And I went, oh, my God, no. Oh, no. What did I do? I let him go up there, and he's scared. And there was other people around. They said, we'll go get him. We'll get him. And I said, no, he's just going to want mom. I knew him. I knew he would have freaked out if someone else would have gone up. Once he decided he was scared, he froze, right? He was just frozen in fear. He couldn't come back down the ladder. He couldn't go down the slide. So I said, I'm coming. And I had to get my giant belly up this ladder that was like surrounded by this metal. And I'm moving my belly up each rung, trying to protect the baby, trying to smash my belly up this ladder thing. I finally get to the top and he looks at my face and he went, uh-oh. I was so mad that he'd gone up there, knowing full well it was probably too much for him. I was mad at myself. So I picked him up. He just went, uh-oh. I picked him up and I chucked him down the slide like a rocket. He didn't fight me or anything. So all I heard was his head banging on the side as he's going down. He comes shooting out the end, flies out, and then lands on his back. And I said, get out of the way. I'm coming down. And I had to hold onto my belly and I'm going down this slide. I came out, landed on my back. And as soon as I did, he says, can I go again, mommy? And I said, we're going home. So I always remembered that. Like, how dumb. Sometimes my brain just disappeared. But that's parenting. That is parenting. It is messy. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to get messy. Did you homeschool? God, no, I would have hated it. I hated it. Just the idea of it is not for me at all. I praise anyone who does it, but no, my kids went in regular schools. Yeah, it's not for me at all. I don't think I have it's not me to, yeah, I like playing with kids, but I don't like teaching them stuff, like I love playing and being goofy, but I didn't really particularly like doing homework with them or anything. Like, that just wasn't my thing. Luckily they were good students. I never had to help them. So, but yeah, it just wasn't something I enjoyed. So I wouldn't have done it. And plus the social skills, I wanted them to get out there. The only problem that I've ever seen with homeschooling pretty consistently is when they hit high school. They're usually mainstream when they're teenagers and they go off to high school. Other teenagers have told me we can spot homeschooled kids a mile away, and they're often don't fit into high school. So what I suggest homeschool parents do is, usually homeschooling is a great community. They all socialize. Also socialize them outside of other homeschool kids. Put them in other programs that are not with homeschool kids, so they learn how to socialize with non-homeschool kids, because it is a different type of an upbringing. So that's the only warning I would ever give, is socialize them with other kids who are not homeschooled. Teaching to say, excuse me, please look. Is that a stage or lack of cup of being filled? I don't know what you mean. You've got a special needs child. That would always be coaching. Okay. Special needs is coaching. I can't answer you. I can't give you a general answer for a special needs child. I would have to assess the situation first. Check out the link above. All my courses and coaching and everything, it's all in that link. A lot of it, whenever I'm doing these lives, I got to keep reminding myself that I'm just reacting to your questions. So I'm not leading the live. And in coaching, I don't do that at all. It's all me taking control and teaching parents how to move forward as leaders. But and discipline is all that ever seems to be discussed in here, because that's all you ever ask. I don't teach discipline very often. In coaching, it's all about connecting, how you connect with children. And then the discipline's a tiny part of it. So I'm just going to read a few things that I'd like to share. I'm going to tell you this cute story. One of my clients, they have a 3-year-old little boy and a 15-month-old little sister. So they often hit each other. And every time the 15-month-old would hit the older brother, he'd hit her back. So we put no hitting as his rule on the behavior board. And so he was getting pretty good at this. So then the next week, after a week of practice of this, using this behavior board with no hitting on it, his little sister hit him. He always would have hit her back. This time the mother watched this. He didn't, like, she was just watching this. The little sister hit him. He took her by the hand, walked her over to the board and said, see, no hitting. He was using the behavior board on his little sister. But the good part is he didn't hit her back. Isn't that the cutest thing? Kids get this stuff. They get it. Kids usually love the behavior board because the parents are on it too. It's a way they feel respected. They feel like you're being fair and reasonable. A lot of reasons why children are acting out is because they don't feel you're being fair and reasonable. Sometimes you discipline, that's it. Okay, no TV for a year. You're like inconsistent. You're hot, you're cold. It confuses them. The behavior board is how you be consistent and calm when you're disciplining, and then you play with them a lot too. So it's about consistency. A lot of parents do this. They let stuff go, and then they go, that's it, and then they just go crazy. And it's up and down emotional. It messes the kids up. Like when it comes to respecting you, they're not going to respect you if you're like that. So it calms you down, and it calms the kids down. I know you say to ignore tantrums. My 2-year-old will cry for an hour until I interfere. Advice? Is an hour that bad? Yeah. I don't know why you need to interfere in that. I'd still be just standing there filing my nails. I might be picking up some dishes and doing some dishes in that time. If it keeps going on, I might be sort of wandering off, but don't look at them, just wandering off doing stuff. But don't talk to someone, and don't look on your phone. It's dismissive. Just do general, like kind of like looking like this, doing dishes or wiping down. So yeah, I would still let them go. Let them follow you around. Yeah, don't make eye contact. Oh God, no. Do not make eye contact with a tantruming child, ever. I had one mom who said, I just have to look. So she got a mirror, and she was looking at the kid in the mirror. My 4-year-old throws a tantrum every day not to go to school. I've tried everything. Well, have you tried everything? Like, why? Okay, he's throwing a tantrum not to go to school every day. I've tried everything. I don't know the situation. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I could say, but I don't know what you're doing. Everyone talks about their kids. What are you doing? Why is he at 4? Why is he still throwing tantrums at 4? They usually outgrow it by that age. If you're a leader, they outgrow it. So yeah, work on your leadership skills, and that kind of stuff usually takes care of itself. So everyone wants to fix their kids. We're not doing that here. We're teaching parents. You lead, they will follow. He's not following. If he's tantruming, you're not leading, guaranteed. So yeah, not by 4. By 4-year-old, at 4 years old, they only do what works by the age of 4. So tantruming, there's got to be a payoff for that. It's got to upset you in some way or something. It's a control thing. Oh gosh. Does ignoring the tantrum teach poor emotional regulation? That doesn't make any sense at all to me. Why? Why would it do that? Why would it do that? Interrupting a tantrum can mess it up. Why would it? I don't understand that question. I never understand that. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. Don't ask me to go on about that, please. I could go on for an hour about that one. Because I know that's the pleaser parent stuff. It's like, you discuss their big feelings, their big emotions. It's all garbage. Yeah, it's just garbage. Okay, I don't know how old your daughter is, so I can't answer that. I was going to answer it, but I need an age. Okay. Why do kids prefer a parent? I don't know your situation. I have no idea. They usually lean more into the leader, though. The leader is usually the prized role because they're the one, you're the safe place to land. You're the one that's in charge. They feel safe with you. And you're the one they tell everything to. So they usually lean more into the leader. Doesn't mean they love you more. It's just you're the one who they tend to go to. You're the go-to is the leader. So. Okay, this one's a good one. When the tantrum is over, what if she asks to be held in an effort to calm down? What she's asking for is validation. So they finished having a tantrum. So as soon as they finish, I always say you ignore the crazy and reward the calm. So the tantrum's over, and then you say, oh, do you want to go to the park? Do you want to read a book? And I want a hug. I wouldn't hug her. I'd just go, you're all right. Okay, let's go to the park. I make it like that, like it's light. Keep it light. Don't go, that's okay. Because what you're doing is you're saying, I feel terrible about that tantrum. I was wrong. It sends the wrong message. You're coddling that tantrum. That's what you're doing. It's coddling the whole emotion around it. I would just, you're all right. Okay. You want to read a book? Like that. It kind of, oh, okay. Right? It's not love thereafter. It's validation. Was that really upsetting? Are you upset about it? Do you feel like you need to comfort me? And you know what I mean? Like it's sending the wrong message. Yeah, I go, you're okay. And my daughter and I laugh at that one. I don't remember what it was. I think if a cop pulls you over and you start crying, he goes, you're all right. It can be used in a lot of different situations to diffuse the emotions. It diffuses the emotions. When you hug, you're actually condoning the emotional aspect of the whole tantrum. I just diffuse it by, you're okay. Let's go read a book. And the little fox went here and, you know, I love you so much. You're the literal best. Thank you. That's funny. I have no idea what purple crying is. No idea. Do you do one-on-one coaching or webinar for groups of people? I only do one-on-one coaching right now, but I did do group coaching for my 3 to 12-year-old boot camp course. I only did that so I could check in after a year of having the course out, see how parents are doing with it. And all that group coaching is in the course now. All those videos are in the course to show you you're not the only one going through this stuff. But no, I have no plans right now to do any group coaching, but I do one-on-one coaching every day. That's what I'm doing, is coaching. It's all in the link above. Success rate on tantrum ignoring working on husbands. I might say it's about 100%. Yeah, they don't like being ignored. By the way, I don't want to go into this too much, but my behavior board, a lot of clients have told me this, they use that on each other in their marriage. I won't go into it, but one dad told me in great detail what the consequence was for his wife if she nagged him about something. So yeah, it was, you can just imagine, it was very funny. So it's an accountability chart. A lot of my clients have taken that to work and used it on their staff too. The behavior board, like the rule is you can't be late. If you're late, you can't turn up without coffee for everybody or something like that. You know, it's kind of used with humor. You asked about a toddler hitting. Check out my Toddlers Who Hit course. It's in the link above. And toddlers are all about consistent corrective actions. If they're 3 and over, you put no hitting on the behavior board. If they're under 3, that is the course, the toddler course on Toddlers Who Hit. It's consistent corrective action. Okay, so I was just reading something else. I've got lots of screens going here. I'm inconsistent with my leadership. It's hard. That's why we start with the behavior board. It's a visual tool and it's just one rule for everybody. It's just you start slow. Parents tend to dive in. That's it. I'm going to solve it all. If they want to lose weight, that's it. I'm going to lose 20 pounds tomorrow. Like you tend to do nothing and then everything. You wade into it. It's like going into the cold water. You wade into it. Like I could never just dive into a cold lake. I have to wade in. I'm one of these. I stand on my tippy toes. I'm one of those. And it's kind of like that. That's a really bad analogy. I always say I'm horrible at analogies. Isn't that awful? So dumb. Anyway, but yeah, you go in slow. God, that's a bad one. I'm the worst. Someone said I look very young. Thank you very much. I'm 63 years old. Do not take my wisdom away from me. I'm often guessed a lot younger than I am. And I always say, don't, because you're taking my wisdom. I've earned all these sags and wrinkles and all this wisdom. Yeah, I love my 60s. I didn't like my 50s as much. I gained 40 pounds in my 50s and I've lost it all since. But I had menopause. It was okay. I didn't have any emotional stuff in menopause. But my body, I felt like I was falling apart. Menopause ended, all the weight fell off, and I have more energy now than ever. Love my 60s. Okay. Do you have advice to manage a not good-looking child? What an interesting question. I don't know what you mean by that. And how old are they? Have they got self-esteem issues because they're told they're not good looking? There's a lot of not good looking, successful people out there. Yeah, I don't want to name any in case you're a fan of some of those famous people who are really not attractive, but they're doing very well in life in every department. So yeah, looks aren't everything. Looks don't last. I remember once years and years ago, there was this really good-looking guy, and the whole district, everyone knew him. He was quite a bit older than me, so and we all like, oh my God, he was just gorgeous. He was gorgeous. So anyway, he asked me out. I was cute when I was young, and he asked me out. And we went out and I thought, oh, he's dumb as a doorknob. I had to dump him. I felt really bad about it. He kept calling me and he just was dumb as a doorknob. So looks don't last. They only get the initial attention, but if you got nothing to back it up, so work on the backup. You should always work on the inside anyways. I always told my kids, never be proud of how you look or how smart you are. Those are gifts that you're born with. You don't take credit for those. You can be grateful for them, but don't take credit for them. So, but what I did praise a lot with my kids, if I praised anything, it was how nice they were. They were funny and they were nice and they were fun to be with. That's what I praised. I said, you only take pride in what you do and what you say and how you act. But yeah, don't take pride in your looks. You were just born that way. So yeah. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course. That's 5 weeks, how to be a leader. And you can look into coaching. So thanks so much. And we'll talk again tomorrow. Bye now.